Okay, so what's cool about this is that they have a specific branding package, and usually when people have a branding package, they have a color. Marketing companies will assign a color, so you have this specific color assigned, and so they were able to just plug that color into here. So I'll show you how to do that. But then it's really cool because then you can make it consistent to your brand. So I'm just going to keep scrolling so you guys can kind of see. Sorry, I'm trying to set up my 3-year-old with something to do. Oh, yeah. There you go. Okay. Okay. So here's your table of contents. So this is the pages they've decided to use. They have a page just for the app. And so I would look at this and go, oh my gosh, like I have to make that whole thing. Really all they've changed about this is the color in the background. This was kind of already all there. So you guys can see why it's nice to use this template. They chose to use the financing breakdown. So they have that in there. They work with a lot of first responders, and they kind of market to military and first responders. So they have a page that they talk about that. Buyer fees. This is just an idea of, think about the things, and these will be in the templates, but things that you might be discussing in the meeting anyways. The point of this is just the visual for the conversation you're going to have. And then this is kind of just like preparing for selling. This is their buyers, so this is preparing for being a buyer. So they want to let their people know, okay, you need to contact your lender for an approval letter. We're going to send you an invite in your email from the MLS. Most likely they're just putting them on a hot sheet is what they're talking about. So they're prepping their clients. They have also laid out their preferred lenders. I talked about the loans. This is their referral program. So they have outlined that they incentivize people that refer them business. Like I said, they're serving others. They've got industry terms. So, and then just their social media pages. And then that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is theirs specifically. Again, I would focus more on the things as a template that you want to have a conversation about, and then it's nice to have a visual that's attached to it, right?
Yeah.
Especially because you're most likely going to be sending this to them ahead of time, at least in the next 30 days, and then walking it through with them over Zoom. So if I'm going to go into Command, so that's just kind of like the updated or revised one. So if I go into Command, click on the KW so you have what everything is. I'm going to go click on Designs. And then I'm just going to go click Add anytime I want to go create something new. So I know I'm going to create something that's a flyer size 8.5 by 11. Normally I would print it. So I'm going to go click this Print button. And that's where my template's going to be. So if I go into social, I know that my buyer presentation is not going to be in a social media style format. So that's why I want to click on Print. And then it'll take a second to open up. Basically, it's just opening up it's called WeBrand, which is the design version of Command. Okay. I promise it's thinking. I think it is anyways. This is the patience in me. I just click on it again. Let's see if I have one open. Maybe I can just click on that. Okay. Okay, so yours will look a little bit different because I just went and opened up one that I had already been playing around with. So when you open yours up, down here, it won't show any pages yet, okay? Over to the left, this is the template. So this is all of the pages that KW has provided that you can use for your buyer presentation. And just know that when you go into click print and then it opens up the categories of all the designs, there's a category for listings and a category for buyers. So there are two different ones for listings and buyers. So it helps. The templates are just obviously different based on what you're doing, buying or selling a home. So you're going to want to go do this activity for each one. So you're ready at any moment. Someone says, hey, yeah, I do want to talk about listing my property. You've got both the listing and buyer presentation. So the left side, again, are the templates. So what you want to focus on is when you want to add a page. So for example, this cover sheet, let's say I wanted to add that. I would go click add new page, and then it's going to add it down here. And then I'm going to pull that up. And then you can collapse this pages right here so you can see the full document, or you can pop them up to see all of your pages. So right now, if I had just started from scratch, I would just have one page down here. So this is what throws people off. They will go and edit this, and this would probably be their client first name, right? And then, so let's say I went and edited those two things, right? What we do sometimes is that we go click here again to look at it, and we get scared because when we click that, it now pulls up this. And so we're like, oh my gosh. And I didn't spend a lot of time, but picture that. I changed all the colors. I took like 20 minutes on one page, and then I go click this and I'm like, oh, what happened? So this is still the template. This is always going to be the template. This is going to actually have, when I click down here, these are going to have my edits. So just get used to that, going back and forth, so that you don't have a heart attack. That's me teaching you what I've already. I went in and helped an agent for like an hour, and then I was like, where did it go? Okay, so Terry's suggestion when we taught this a couple weeks ago, I thought was really good. Make a super generic one. Okay, so have it so that it's not customized to a client, that template version, that true template version, okay? Because the nice thing is you can come in and edit this whenever you want. Then I would go and have a few pages that you can customize. But then that way you always have a template quick version. There's going to be clients that if they want to list their $2 million luxury house on Holiday Boulevard, you're probably going to be sitting down, spending more research, maybe creating a page just specifically on the marketing plan for that property. You know, there's some clients that you're definitely going to spend more time on, but you do want a good template. So have the template going, and then maybe you have your few pages that you can customize at any time. So like the app page, for example, I'll just click on that. This is a page that never needs to be customized, right, per client. This is my app. There is a spot where you could go put your app link. The buyer presentation I showed you, Tracy and Christy just decided to put text us for the link. They wanted to make it a little bit more interactive. So they put that. You can do whatever you want. But like I said, when you saw theirs, you can see they just changed the colors. And where I was talking about the branding colors, when you click on the color, see how it'll pop up over up here. So this color is actually number D2103E, right? So if I called the graphic designer and said, I want the red part of my logo to have this color, like that's an actual color they could plug into their program. So what she did was basically go plug in the number for their brand right here, apply, and then it changed it. So I'm more of the pick the genre of color and find one I like, but if you're fancy and you have that marketing branding package, then you guys can do that too. So as you can see on the left side, some of these options for things that you can add. Home wish list, right? Neighborhood preference. So again, this is us talking to a buyer. We could go have a conversation with them about what neighborhood they prefer. I would suggest though, because look at how many pages there are. Again, think about the conversation you're going to have, the value proposition you're going to relay, and don't put a million pages in here, because then it slowly turns into this like package that they're not going to look at.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
That even to me, I feel like that is a lot of pages.
Right.
Especially for a buyer. Yeah. I feel like as sellers, like, yeah, they want to hear your game plan. The buyer's like, screw this, I don't want to hear any of this. Let's go see that house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I like their page that says the game plan. Like, this is what I need you to do. I need you to download my app. I need you to accept the email and the MLS. I need you to get that pre-qual letter. For me, I'm glad you brought that up. For me, that's going to be reinforcing the message that's going to come out of my mouth, so that 2 days later, when they're just like looking through that, they're like, hey, we need to do this checklist, honey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
can you send us, will they let you share that?
Oh yeah, I can send it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
because I think it has some good ideas about simplifying some of the things.
Yeah. I like the game plan thing, because I'm like, my other thing is on some of this, obviously you want to go through the information because then you know what to look for them. Do you have you ever done like a separate, like some kind of form or something? So as you're talking to them, you're completing the same form in the same order. And I don't know if you upload that to contacts or somewhere else, but do you do anything like that?
Yeah, so I think, yes, you would always have some kind of a form, if it's your notes on your iPad or if it's like a notepad. I never want to forget that people told me something, because I feel like it makes me look bad, right? So if you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand when fill in the blank, right? Because that would totally be me. I would be like, do not show me a split level house. Like, do not do it. Yeah. If I said that, and like, if I wasn't as dramatic, right? Let's just say I was like, yeah, no split levels. I really don't like to go east of or west of a certain, right? I want to know that. So I'm like, I know that west of 40th, you're off anyways.
Yeah.
I think we should look at this because it's the only house that's come up in the last whatever.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking about this, and I was like, it'd be so cool if I could like fit all of that information on like a 1 page or like even a half page. So it's like something that I can have with me, like when I'm helping them, or just as a refresher, I can just like turn to that and like look through everything, to have like those highlights of what our conversation was.
Yeah.
So
and one thing that I would suggest in today's environment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I would go click the share button on Zoom, and I would go open up this whiteboard, and I would just, let me move this. This is in the way.
Oh, definitely. These things like are so much easier when you're doing a Zoom meeting.
I mean, we might kind of stick to this, right?
Yeah, it's easier than doing stuff in person.
Yeah.
you're like, you know, maybe writing on your laptop or on your iPad or whatever. It seems a little weird to me to be like sitting with them and like typing on a laptop. Some people aren't bothered by that, but yeah, this is like so much easier. They can like see what you're doing and know when you're typing, so they know what the pauses are. And
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, she heard me, right?
yep.
Because
Yeah.
and now
whiteboard.
how do I do it?
They're seeing the whiteboard too when you're making the notes. Is that what?
Yeah. So when you click that share button, you know how it gives you multiple options.
Yeah.
One of the options is just your desktop, which you normally do all the
Right.
time. But there is an option up at the top that says whiteboard.
Okay. And they see that, and they'll see it too, right? So when you
Yes. And so that's what you'd be sharing. So if I wanted to go back to commit, like to my presentation and get all in there, then I would have to just stop sharing what the page I'm sharing. But the cool thing is I can go write all of this and then I can click the save button and it actually saved it in my, hold on, I haven't ever done this. So let's see. It says it saved it in my Finder. Probably as like a download. Yeah, I mean, it might take me a second to find it, but yeah, it says saved in Finder, which if you have a Mac, it just is in my documents. So I'll have to go find it, but, or I could record the Zoom, but either way, I've got the document. And then if they're like, oh, she didn't hear me, then obviously they're going to bring it up again, but that's something that I would do. And it does kind of feel more, even if all they do is see you write it down, right? Let's go back to the in-person thing. Mm-hmm. If they see you write it down, then they're going to feel a little bit more comfortable about, okay, she really knows what I want or what I need. So that's like that would be my suggestion with a buyer. If you've had a conversation with them ahead of time about comparing specific neighborhoods, then this is a page you could go and use and fill out all this stuff. One thing, and I've been at KW a while, so I know a lot about this, but the basics of all the personality types, the Tony Robbins test, the DISC test, it's not something like you're not going to send every person you work with a DISC test, but the more time that you're familiar with it, the more you'll notice when you're working with a D or an I or an S or a C. Like the person that you cannot get a word in edgewise is your I. The person that's like, you can just tell they're like next. Like even though you haven't moved on, they've moved on. That's the D, the high D. They just want like, what's the objective? When's it going to be done? Am I going to get what I wanted out of it? Right? So just assessing who you're dealing with too is really good, because then you're not losing them, not even just in, because like you're the right agent, but they might also be going, gosh, I can't work with this agent if they're like talking forever and they're not like reading my social cues. I can't handle this much socialization. Or maybe
you can read them too along the way too, right? So you can go and skip a bunch of pages too. It just depends on what your feel is with the
yeah, and then if they go back, like if the high D goes back and they're like, okay, wait, I saw that percentage, like tell me about that.
Right.
You know, that's what I would maybe even just plug in there, and then you can go back if they're like, oh, I want to talk about this page. Mm-hmm. But the high SC, which is usually the structured, give me detail, like let me assess, let me add up the numbers person, that's going to be who you talk to about like the average. If they've said, I love South Jordan and this is my budget, then, you know, you talk more about numbers. But
hey,
because
Kimber, while you're on this neighborhood insights thing, I chuckled to myself because just yesterday I went brain dead and I couldn't, it was a seller's presentation, but I couldn't remember how to put the neighborhood in.
Oh yeah, so it's super easy. So I'm glad you brought that up. For some reason, because I'm in an old template, it's not showing. So I'm going to try to open up a new one to show, because it's just going to have a button right here that says KWLS.
Yeah.
And then, just let me see if it'll open. Okay, we're getting more activity than we were before. Okay, so let's say I'm in listing presentation. Let's say I pick this one. Okay, so the neighborhood page, if you click on this KWLS, and I can add this snapshot to any of these pages, right? But if I go click on this and then I click on snapshots, I just have to know the neighborhood name, which I always tell agents the best way to know the neighborhood name, if it's not a very common one like Daybreak, is going in and putting in an address in the neighborhood in one of your contacts. You can put it in as yourself and remove it later, but when you go put in an address in a contact in Command, it automatically shows you what that primary address's neighborhood is. That's how I find out what the neighborhood is, because neighborhood names are different than subdivisions. Agents usually talk in subdivision name. We don't really talk about a neighborhood name.
Yeah.
This neighborhood thing is fairly new as far as a way to market to your clients. So that's how I would find the neighborhood name. But let's say I knew that it was called Daybreak. Then I found it South Jordan. I just click on this little down arrow and then it gives me the different layout options. So if I just wanted the map, I didn't want any of the numbers, then I can look fancy. Something like that.
Yep.
But then, so this is like, let's say this is my page 1 of my presentation. So you guys can see where, because now this one's an empty template. Now I only have 1 page. So if I wanted to go add this page to my presentation, now it's going to add it to page 2. And then I'm going to highlight this property that they're selling. Let's say I wanted this page to be the first page. I can just go click on it and drag it and change the position. So really easy to navigate, but that number. This is a popular, when I show agents this page, they like it because everybody usually has some kind of comparable information that they give their clients when they're talking about listing the property, right? Because your conversation of how much are you going to list it at is a heavy part of that conversation, or meaning it takes up a lot of the time. And so having a page like this, yeah, you're going to go print out comps or whatever. But if you wanted to just take it a notch up, you can just plug in that same data and then go plug in the pictures of those houses. And then you are good to go.
So excuse me, I could make a CMA and MLS, right? Which I've done before. They've got some, I don't remember the name of it, but you can choose one of the pages will show just that, like a snapshot of the comparables.
Uh-huh.
And then you could print it. Can I print it as a PDF and then save it on my computer and bring it into this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or I would just like the KWLS, it also has a feature where you can go look up, if you click on this on listing, search by MLS number. I believe, and I haven't tested this out, but I believe you can look up listings or MLS that aren't active. So I would maybe try to do that because then it would pull in the picture.
Okay.
The image of that property that's 2 doors down, and then you could go plug it in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that's a good question. So you can just see like listing a property is going to be different than working with a buyer. So I think open house strategy, I am going to 100% agree with you, Marcy, is this is beautiful, but make sure that that's a little bit even 2-paragraph for me. Open house strategy. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm doing staging, and this is what it looks like. Here's a picture. Here's an example of a before and after. Done. Right? That's what I would plug right there, is a before and after picture of even if I haven't ever used that stager, I could go ask the stager that I like, hey, send me a good before and after, because I'm going to plug you every time I meet with a potential seller. And maybe go plug that in there. So you guys can see how this is going to take a little time creatively. The one I showed you at the beginning, Tracy and Christie's, she said it probably took her a week, just on and off, like going back to it and updating it. But now's a good time to get this kind of dialed in. And then if you just, like, let's say you have this expertise page in your presentation and you just want to go change some data on it every now and then it's super easy. And you've got all of your stuff in here. I do think this page on proof is in your numbers, whether you skim over it or not. It was mentioned, I think Tiffany Crawford said that she just plugs in the numbers that Amy sends out every 30 days, plugging in something like that until you have a lot of your own data, I think is great. Because you're saying, like, Keller Williams, it's your team, you're part of the team. Or you could sit there and talk about where the current state of the market is. Maybe your conversation is going to be about prices are going up or remaining steady. Proof that it's a good time to sell, you know. And then if it's somebody that doesn't love the details, then you could just have that and they can read it when they want. And then if you've listed properties you want to, like, highlight once you create a portfolio, then you've got that. And then I love this one. This is training them, like, here's how you get in touch with me. You're going to already say it, but, you know, just saying I'm available these times. Something that a lot of agents do is just available all the time. And you think that that's great. Or I just want to always make sure I'm available. But then it starts getting annoying, and you can only be annoyed at yourself, right? I tell myself you can only be annoyed at yourself because you didn't tell people the guidelines. So if you just say, like, I'm available anytime before 7 p.m., then when you get a call at 8, you're not bugged, and that your voicemail says that you'll call them back the next day. So just, like, reiterating the your office hours or how to best communicate with you right there, I think is great. And then they have it saved.
I think that is so funny. It's probably going to be opposite than my legal clients, because I'm always like, you have my cell phone number, you can text, call, email 24/7 is what I tell them. Yeah. And they don't use it that often. I'm, like, always shocked at, like, how, like, little. Maybe it's because they know they're paying me an hourly rate, but yeah. but I'm always shocked that they don't. I do, and, like, when they have real big emergencies, I'll get, like, texts or phone calls, but usually they don't. But I think with real estate, it's going to be different.
Yeah, so, especially on what market it is. So if we just talk about last summer, for example, if you got an email as a client, you got an email in the morning that there was a new property that came on in South Jordan, and it was priced at probably just right under 500,000. Like, you need your agent to drop everything, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just one of those things that you want to protect your sale as much as you want to protect your time too. So if you just even say, like, I'll get back to you, and then you kind of train people to leave you like, shoot me a text if I don't answer, and then you can look up the property. But it's just a good closer, I think, for a presentation, because it's got your information. And you can say something like, you guys have already received an email copy of this, but please make sure you save this information I want you to be, if you find a home on my app, I want you to let me know so I can look it up and see right away if we can get in to see it. You know,
Yeah.
focusing more on when you're available than when you're not, but then having it in paper of your hours is good, especially because you've got other things. You've got other businesses, both of you do. So yeah. So do you guys have any questions about that specifically? It's pretty user friendly. As weird as it sounds, you can go add images, put them in here. You can change where things are, move things around. I feel pretty comfortable with it after spending maybe a day playing around with stuff. But I would just take it a page at a time, right? So if you open up your listing presentation today, this would be an example of a customized page. So maybe you want to create your template first, and then you're going to have these custom pages that you've got all your info on, but you're going to switch out the picture and the name of the client on everyone. So you have it as part of your template down here, but maybe you leave it as the last page or something like that. So, but let me know if you get stuck on anything. Last suggestion, I know you probably have already heard this from me, but I always click File Save. Even when it does save automatically sometimes, I just like to feel comfortable about that if I'm going to go out of it. And then over here, this is just where you can rename it. So if I'm working on my listing presentation, if this is my template, then that's where I'm going to go name it. And then see how it says saved. So it's always automatically saving. I would just always go save before you get out of it. And then when you go download it, you notice you can download something as a picture. If you want to go, you know, shoot them over, text them over a picture of something or of a page, or if you're doing it as a PDF, if I want to download all 8 pages, I can just click all. If I just want to download page 1 through 7, I can do that. One thing I've seen people get hung up on for this, you want to keep it as standard quality. So it'll download, and then you just download it. Hold on, Mike.
Hey, 2 questions, Kimber. One is, you mentioned something about a bunch of different logos and things that we can use and download into our library, or do we just have the 2 that are in? It was just this week when you were on, you said something about
I think
somewhere to
Eden
get a bunch of logos.
didn't Eden post a link on Facebook or something?
Is that what she did? Okay.
Yeah, so on our page, she posted the drive. It's a Google Drive link that just goes straight to the logos.
Okay.
If you can't find it, if you just go to our region's website.
Oh my gosh. Is that your little girl?
Yeah.
Her voice sounds so much like my oldest son's when he was little.
Okay, we'll fix it in 1 second, okay? Okay. Sorry, guys. I know, 3 is hard, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has to be like pretty understanding.
Yeah, well, and me,
No
well,
daycare.
me and my husband, we just keep saying, we're like, oh, we're gonna miss this little voice, you know?
Yeah.
I'll talk to so many people, they're like, they turn into teenagers. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's my little, or my oldest son, when he was little, he had the little highest voice. Now he's 6 feet.
Yeah.
Super manly.
It's a man.
Kid with a super deep voice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's a twisted trick that God plays on us. We have
so
little baby boys or girls, but boys especially. And then they grow, I always tease that they grow up to be ugly, stinky, hairy men, but
Yeah. And then you say stuff like that to them, and then they roll their eyes. And then when they're my age and then they have kids, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my parents used to say that. And I would be like, whatever.
Yep.
No, it's true.
Oh,
Okay, so
go ahead.
if you go click agent resources down at the bottom of that KW Utah page,
Yeah.
the password is just Keller Williams, capital K, capital W, no space. This will get you into, there's a couple of resources on here. So let's see, the logos is going to be, so yours is going to look like this. So you go into the Market Center logos folder, you find South Valley, and then if you download the zip file and just put it on your desktop, then you will have it on your, and then you don't have to log in here every time. And it's going to have all the different colors and formats, like the transparent backgrounds and the JPEGs. They also upload other things in here, like market statistic reports and stuff like that. So,
oh wow, I didn't even know that existed. So,
yeah, so there's a couple.
Amy puts our reports in here, the reports that she puts on Facebook.
No, this is like more for the region. So I'll just show you an example of a quarterly market report.
Okay.
I know the region. I guess technically the quarter just ended for March, for the first one of March, huh? So I'm not too worried that there's nothing in there.
That's all right. Just a question.
But yeah, if I look up like 2019 Q4, and what agents use this a lot for is just to kind of go back historically and look at stuff. But if I were to go click on this report, this was Q4. Oh, usually, sorry, it's kind of a weird thing. I'm a double clicker, so I just feel like everything should open if I double click. You have to right click and download it, just because of how they have it uploaded. So this is an example, and they have it for every county. So this is Weber County. These are good things too, like Q1, right, is going to be in there soon. These are really good things to just plug in presentations. If you're talking about, is it a good time, right? You've got some stats, and you could just print these and plug them in and do a little bit of research looking at the numbers, so you feel like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, you can see what a real downturn looks like in a graph. Excuse me. Okay, guys.
And then one other question. I think I asked you on an email or something, I can't remember, but is Canva in command? I mean, can we go and edit like photos and stuff with Canva in command?
No, so I just use, if I use Canva, I just use it totally separate.
Okay. So if I want to do background changes and stuff, I got to subscribe to the Canva Pro, right?
I have always used the free version. So I would try to do whatever you're doing on the free version.
Huh, because I couldn't find where I could eliminate my background on it, on my free version. But have you ever done that?
It just depends on what template it is, you know? So
you might have to go to the individual layers to be able to select it, to delete it or change it.
Yeah, because sometimes if it has like something that it says it's going to charge me for, then I just go and delete that. And like, let's say I liked the layout of this. Okay, that's an Instagram story. Well, let's say I liked the layout of this, but when I clicked on it, it said it was going to charge me for this fancy flower background. And I don't know if it says it's going to or not. But let's say it says it's going to charge me for that. Then I'm just going to go click on just that and then click delete. Because I can figure something else out, you know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of, the best layout possible. I've never actually kept a Canva template remotely the way it looks. It's more just like, oh, I like how this is laid out. Like I could go plug in a picture of, you know, whoever, and or I could go move this in the middle. So, yeah.
What about your own photos? If you got your own photos?
Yeah, so how I do photos is I'll always use under these elements, I'll always use the grid so that it'll plug the picture into a specific area that I want to make.
Right.
So like if I wanted to go add my picture, but I don't want to just go add my boring picture, I want to have it be like a circle.
Right.
I'm going to always go add this grid or frame first. And then I'm going to go upload my picture. And then when I drag it into that frame, then it's going to be perfectly in there.
Okay.
So I could go plug in a quote from Emily right now and it would look great.
Right.
While you're on, can you remind us of the girl's name that does headshots or photos?
I'm trying to think like.
I know you have like all these people. You're like, oh great, my mind went blank.
Oh, is it Purple Moss? Is that the one we talked about?
Yeah.
It is? Okay. And she does like agent photos?
Yeah, so Carrie Mann, I think is her name. If you go look on Purple Moss, I feel like I've seen that they're doing some kind of special, right? Because they're just trying to be competitive just like everyone else.
Yeah.
They're doing some kind of special where if you do a certain, they'll do a certain headshot package. Another girl, I know it sounds weird, but I'll send you her info. There is a girl, she's actually a makeup artist that I follow, but she does photos as well. I'll just text you her Instagram. She said she was doing like headshots and your makeup, because I'm one that I never get like professional photos unless I get my makeup professionally done. Otherwise, I'm like, that was a waste of me spending money on the picture if it's going to be that close to my face. And she had like a special where they did like makeup and the pictures for like $150 or something.
And what's her name?
It's good. Her name's Marissa. Let's see what her, and you could just reach out to her and see if she saw the special. She posted about it, or at least it was on her Instagram is Marissa, Marisa ROSEMPH.
M as in Marissa, PH?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like miles per hour.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's got like 24,000 followers on Instagram, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But she posted, I would just direct message her. She posted a couple weeks ago that she was having a special for that, probably because she has no brides.
Yeah.
No anything, but I was thinking, oh, well, if I need
this is pageant season too. So she does, like the guy I normally use, Faces Photography. He's awesome. He does pageants, but he's like making no money right now because there's no pageants.
And she posted, yeah, you'll have to just go look at her Instagram, because I don't know if she has any headshots, but she'll send you some examples. So
yeah, that's good. I'll contact her that way. The other question I had is for, I think I saw them, what are the Matterport guys' names?
Yeah, so one of our agents, I'm just gonna stop recording this. One of our agents,